Welcome to JoF TV. I'm Cilla, and with me is Chuck. Hi, Chuck.
Hi.
You're creepy.
Why do you keep calling me creepy?
Because you are.
It's not nice.
And I do tell the truth.
But I'm your brother. You're supposed to be nice to me.
And I'm your
So
sister.
never mind.
You're supposed to be nice to me.
I was going to say, no, it's a two-way street. Fuck that.
So, well, first of all, let's start with, we talked about this a little bit a couple episodes earlier, and we've announced it on our Facebook, but just to reiterate for those that haven't heard, we are going to be speaking at another convention, an upcoming convention,
right.
Comic book convention. Wizard World San Antonio.
They've been so nice to us. They've invited us back.
They have. Wizard World has been very good to us, and
Mostly you. I'm just tagged along.
I have had amazing interactions with the people at Wizard World. They've been very good to us, very accommodating, and very glad to continue to work with them for a second year in a row.
Yeah, we had such a great time last year that when you told me that you were able to secure a spot in San Antonio, I thought, wow, that's fucking great. And immediately went and saw to see if I could get the time off. I'm able to get the day off because I normally work Saturdays. So I'm able to actually join you, which we didn't think I could at first. Mm-hmm. So I'm super stoked. So
we will be at Wizard World San Antonio. It is the first weekend in August, which
August 2nd.
August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is the day of the convention. We'll be there August 2nd at 11:15.
Oh, it was 11:15? I thought it was 11:30, but okay, close enough.
11:15 is when our panel starts. It will be another panel on fan fiction. It's the one we did in Austin last year.
Right. But bigger and better.
Bigger and better.
Mostly because Chuck will be prepared.
Yes. And there'll be a little more to it this time. A little bit of new information. So, it's going to be very similar to last year's Austin panel, but there's definitely going to be some updates and improvements on it.
Right.
So,
more special effects, couple sword fights.
Looking very forward to it. I think it's going to be amazing. And if you're in the San Antonio area, please come check it out. Once we do the panel, we will be walking around the convention floor, interviewing cosplayers, artists, whoever will let us film.
Absolutely.
Feel free to come find us, and you too can be on JoF TV. I personally,
I'll have my new toy.
Yes. As a fangirl,
2 new toys.
I'm psyched. There's one thing. Mainly, I'm going to San Antonio for JoF.
Right.
That's my purpose of going. I'm doing the panel. I'm going to do interviews. I consider this to be a working convention.
Sure.
There's one thing there that I'm very excited to do that I don't care if it takes time out of interviews or whatever. I'm going to do it. Finally get to meet John Barrowman. I'm going to go get my picture with him. I'm going to get a photo op.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You're able to do that. You're allowed. You're a grown-ass woman. You go do your fangirl thing. For the love of God, do not grab that man's ass. Restrain yourself.
But he's so hot. And he's gay. He won't mind.
No, I don't care. I don't care. Keep thine hands above his waistline.
Oh, he'd enjoy it. No, but
I'm just saying.
But I have promised Jill that when I get my photo op, I'm going to be wearing a Batman shirt. And she's also said...
Because you're convinced that he would be the best Batman.
Right, as I said in the last episode.
Right.
I go, Jill, do you think if I went up and said, hey, Bruce, it'd confuse him?
A little bit.
She goes, yeah. He'd be like, no, Malcolm Merlyn. No, Bruce Wayne!
Although I think if you get the chance to actually have a conversation, I think it would be an amazing opportunity for you to go, you really should be the next Bruce Wayne.
And he really should.
Yeah.
And I have every intention of telling him that if I'm ever given the opportunity.
That's
fine. Be like, dude, talk to your agent. You gotta make this happen somehow. You are Bruce Wayne. Have you looked in a mirror? Anyway, so I'm excited to fangirl out over that. That's the only thing that I plan on totally geeking out about while I'm there. The rest of it's all work.
It was the same thing last year. You know, we had a great time doing the panel, but when we were there on Saturday, you fangirled out on JDF a little bit.
Yes.
You didn't grab his ass, and I'm so proud of you. I know you wanted to.
I really wanted to.
But you showed great restraint.
No, actually, I didn't. But you want to talk restraint? Oh my God. Okay, so I went to a convention here in Austin last weekend. And...
Last weekend or the weekend before?
No, it was last weekend.
Has it only been a week?
It's only been a week.
God, I have not been getting enough sleep.
So, last weekend I went to Capital City Comic Con here in Austin. It's not the Wizard World convention. It's a much smaller convention. This one's more artist-based.
It's actually Comic Con instead of... I mean, because let's face it, most Comic Cons have...
Geek Cons.
Yeah, they have kind of gone beyond just comic books.
Right.
This one was very much more artist, so more comic-y.
Yeah, it was very artist-based. It was my understanding it was the first year that they'd done this one, and it showed. Growing
pains. If it comes back next year, maybe it'll be a little better.
Lord, I hope so. Because it was very unorganized. To me, having been to a Wizard World convention, which is so big and so awesome, it was kind of like a teaser. It's like, here's a Comic-Con, but not the awesomeness of a Comic-Con you're used to. There were no panels to go... And for me, that's my favorite part of the Wizard World conventions. I like to go to the convention floor. I like to walk around. I like to see what there is. But I enjoy the panels.
Sure.
I love going and sitting through panels. I find them so interesting. Whether it's an actor or someone like us that's just giving information on a topic. Some of that stuff's so interesting.
Right.
I like that part. And there were no panels at this convention.
We saw some really good panels last year.
Yes.
The two captains, Dr. Langley's panel on Sex, Love, and Superheroes.
Dr. Langley always has good panels.
Yeah.
He has such great information to share. I love any time I get to go to one of his panels. Celebrity panels were fun. I got to see JDF, Erica Durant.
Yeah, Erica Durant.
Who I am a huge fan of as a person now. Never really liked her as Lois. Never really liked her as Lois, but after listening to her speak and how down to earth she is, totally fan of her. So
we got to see a really good one on movie making.
Yes,
that was very interesting. If a bit long-winded.
The year before, I saw Dr. Langley's panel on Batman psychology. Was my first time I'd ever heard of Dr. Langley, and ultimately what led me into getting his book and us doing the interview. And so the panels, good stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tangent, just for a moment. That does bring to mind. If who we're talking about is Dr. Travis Langley. He wrote a book a couple years ago. It's Batman and Psychology. We've talked about it. We've reviewed it. We've interviewed him on the show. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the interview. It's a really interesting discussion with him. But if you have not yet picked up his book, apparently Amazon actually just lowered the price. It's a more reasonable price again. So now's a good time to go out and get it. It's a great book. You don't even have to be a student of psychology to enjoy the book. So definitely a little plug for Dr. Langley there. It's a great book. You need to go watch it. You need to go buy it and read it if you have not done so.
Yes.
So anyway, go back.
So anyway,
back on track.
So I went to Capital City Comic Con last weekend, and it wasn't the type of convention I was used to, but it was interesting nevertheless. First of all, I went for one reason, and that was I had no interest in this convention. There is no way I would have gone until I found out Steve Cardenas was going to be there. And for those of you that don't know who that is, he played Rocky DeSantos on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Power Rangers Zeo, the second Red Ranger and the Blue Zeo Ranger.
Right.
And you want to talk fangirl moment. Oh my God. So I found out he was going to be at this convention, and I had to go meet him because I've actually talked to him on the phone before. My friend Jill went to a convention in Chicago and got me an autograph, and he talked to me on the phone.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. So it was crazy. I'm walking around Walmart getting my yogurt, and Jill's like, "Hey, here's Steve." I'm like, hi. So it was kind of weird.
Leave it to Jill.
Right. But having the opportunity to go see him in person and actually meet him face to face, I wasn't going to pass up that opportunity.
Right.
So I went ahead and went to the convention. And I've gotten pretty good with quote-unquote celebrities, having met so many of them. Even if I'm kind of geeking out on the inside, or, oh my god, it's so cool, I can't believe I'm meeting this person, I can usually handle myself pretty well and talk to them like it's no big deal. I've gotten good at that.
Except for the Mark Paul Gosselaar thing. I mean, I heard about him slipping on the pool of drool and breaking a hip. He's getting old. He broke a hip. That's not true.
I'm
completely lying about that.
And I actually, when I met Mark Paul, I handled myself just fine.
Yeah.
When I met JDF, I handled myself just fine. I've met Mandy Moore. I've met my favorite Backstreet Boy. I've met several.
Wait, who is your favorite Backstreet Boy? You've said names until that moment.
Because nobody knows who, unless it's Nick Carter, nobody knows who the rest of them are.
Okay, but
my favorite Backstreet Boy is Howie Dorough.
Thank you. I know who Howie is, but you need to say that. My favorite Backstreet Boy, Howie, or Howie Dorough. If you want to clarify that he's a Backstreet Boy, I get that. But don't just say my favorite Backstreet Boy and move on. Because now people are going, who? People like the Backstreet Boys?
For those of you that are sports fans, you might know the name Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
I actually interviewed him for a class project when I was in high school. So, meeting celebrities is not a new thing for me. Just part of it through circumstance and part of it from having a mom in the television industry most of my life. I grew up doing commercials, and I was kind of like the local celebrity in school. I got to sing at malls in the area, so I got to meet different pop stars, got to sing in front of Howie on a cruise ship. I've done stuff around celebrities my whole life. So even if I am starstruck, I'm pretty good at hiding it. I have never completely fangirled out the way I did in front of Steve. Ever.
It's one of those moments I wish I had been there so that I could have recorded it.
Oh my god. For someone that is usually so composed in front of celebrities, I froze. There's no other way to put it. Because leading up to it, in the days leading up to it, Jill was like, how are you doing? I'm like, girl, I'm okay with celebrities. Not a big deal. Little nervous, happy to meet him, not worried. Gonna be fine. I'm used to celebrities. Didn't realize that I didn't see Steve as a celebrity necessarily so much as a hot guy, and I'm not so good in front of hot guys.
Not at all.
This is where it fell apart.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, smooth, thy name is not Cilla.
No. I'm great with celebrities, but as anybody that is my friend will attest to, when I see a hot guy, I turn into a pile of
dumbassery.
And
that's putting it nicely.
And so you put me in front of a guy that is hot as Steve is, and I just fell apart.
And I don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't. I never have. Don't get me wrong. I can see an attractive male and appreciate that they are or are not attractive, whatever. I can look at JDF as an example. At least back in the day. I don't know about today, but back in the day, he was a handsome young man. Mark Paul Gosselaar, still, and actually, I think he has grown into his looks better.
Yeah, I would agree.
He looked more awkward when he was younger, but as an adult, he's kept himself in shape. He's an attractive male. I don't see it with Steve Cardenas. Sorry.
Jill didn't either until she saw him in person.
Yeah, well.
So I go and get my picture with him, and he's like being friendly, greeting me, hi, and I'm like, hi. And like, it took me forever to form the word hi. So,
next, take flashcards with It's like,
But I did get my picture taken with him. I posted it on Instagram, so it's on my own personal Twitter and Facebook. I'll share it on the JoF site as well. So
it's okay. They don't care.
So y'all can see. So that was kind of exciting. So it gets better though.
Oh, how could it possibly?
It gets better. So I go around the convention and I do my interviews. I see who all is there. I pick up a couple of interviews, which you'll get to see here in a little bit. Checked out the convention. And then I decide I'm going to go and talk to Steve again, tell him about JoF, and see if he does podcast interviews and whatnot. Going to go talk to Steve. This is where this plan fell apart.
Yeah, the whole plan, pretty much, at that point.
So...
Oh, Jesus.
So he's...
Oh, Jesus.
He's at his little booth, which is... He's actually there with a comic book shop, promoting the shop and whatnot, as opposed to being over with some of the other celebrities. And... Just to go off for a second here, on a slight tangent, Allison McGinnis, who played Dana Carter on Lightspeed Rescue, Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, the Pink Ranger, always thought she was so pretty, and she was on the show. She still is pretty, don't get me wrong. But when I saw her in person, I just was thinking to myself, oh, honey, I want to give her a cookie so bad.
Oh, lost a lot of weight.
So thin. I'm just like, oh my God. She was not that she's not a pretty girl, because she is. But she's one of those celebrities that I'm just like, she is too thin. And I'm sorry. There is such a thing as too thin, and it doesn't look good. Just wanted to be like, here, have a cookie. Have 2 cookies. So I was that was just kind of a weird moment for me. I'm like, oh, Pink Ranger. Ooh, Pink Ranger need cookie. So anyway, so I'm trying to get up the nerve to go talk to Steve. And so I start hovering around booths in his general vicinity, trying to work up my nerve and get to a point where there's not fans. You know, I want to actually go talk to him. Eventually work my way over to his booth, kind of duck into the shop part, because, you know, when comic shops are at a convention, they have a little...
They bring part of their shop
makeshift shop set up.
Absolutely.
So I kind of duck into the shop area, and I'm looking at comic books. Come across...
Wait, is this because it's really porn, or... Because you're not really looking at the books?
Because I'm not really looking at the books.
Okay. Because when I say looking at comic books, I mean porn.
I'm pretending to look at comic books. What I ended up picking up was some New 52 trades of Nightwing, which we all know I have no interest in. I'm looking at Nightwing's red costume going, needs to be freaking blue. And,
you know, you focus on the weirdest shit. Let it go.
In the process, I look up, and, like, right there in front of me, because, you know, when they do the makeshift stores, it's those, like...
The steel grating...
The grating thing, yeah. So you can see
because
through
they can hang shit on
holes. Exactly. So I look up, look through the holes, and I can see Steve standing there. Like, I can see him from behind.
You're looking at Steve Cardenas' ass.
That's exactly what ended up happening.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow. This is not helping me. So I'm like, okay. So I walk around again, and then end up ducking back into the shop. And finally I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. I'm being stupid. Either I'm going to go talk to him or I'm not. But I want to go home, because this convention sucks. So... I go over, and finally, there's no fans there. He's just standing there chatting with the runners of the booth. So I go over and immediately freeze. And so I decide I need a quick recovery tactic. So I see that there's some power coins sitting in between the helmets that he has set up on the table. So I pick up one of the power coins and look at it, which draws attention to myself.
Naturally, because you're touching it.
Which is the point. And so the shop owner goes, those are the last 2 he has. They're $50 each. And I'm like, man.
It's a shame you didn't have any money.
I'm like, if I had $50, I'd so be all over that. Preschool teachers just don't make that kind of money. Which is an icebreaker. Which got Steve to say, oh, well, I have some new ones coming out that are bigger, and they have the Dragon Zord on. He starts telling me about these new power coins he has coming out. So now, here I am, I'm actually talking to the guy. And in the process, I ask him if he does podcast interviews, and he's really busy. He doesn't do a lot of that kind of stuff. But I went ahead and gave him a JoF card and was like, hey, if you ever want to check us out, da-da-da. So this is what it took to get me to talk to Steve. And how long it took me to finally talk to Steve. Although I have to say, I was slightly proud of myself for thinking quickly enough to pick up a power coin and draw attention to myself to force a conversation.
Yeah, okay.
But
I'll sort of give you that one.
It was not my finest moment. It all ended up okay. But it was not my finest moment. And I found out that while I may be okay with celebrities, I am not okay with hot guys, no matter who they are. And I'm also really glad that John Barrowman is gay, because I think that will probably prevent me from being a pile of goo around him.
I doubt it. I honestly doubt it.
So, yeah, that was my convention experience. But I did actually get the opportunity to talk to a couple of cool people at the convention. A couple of really awesome artists. The first one I talked to, her name is Emily Rose, and she does a lot of stuff specifically for conventions. She draws various things and sets at booth at conventions, and that's how she sells her work. She doesn't do she doesn't do comic book work. She works the convention circuit.
Does she do commissions, things like that?
She does do commissions, I believe. She has a website set up.
Okay.
So you can definitely check out her work. And like I said, I actually had the opportunity to interview her. So I'd like to go ahead and share that. So let's go ahead and take a look at that interview.
Roll that beautiful beam footage. Oh, wait, that's a whole different thing, isn't it?
A whole other thing.
Oh, okay.
Roll the interview.
Roll the interview.
Hi, I'm here with Emily Rose. She's an artist with a booth here at Capital City Comic Con. Thank you for taking time to talk to us.
No problem.
So you have a lot of prints here. You're selling your work here at the convention. You go to different conventions and sell your work?
Yep.
What's that experience like?
It's really great. I've been doing it for 2 years now, and every time I get to meet lots of new awesome people and fans that I get to see at different shows, and it's really awesome.
The comic book world, or geek world, whatever you want to call what we are here, is generally more male driven.
Yeah.
I know sometimes as a female I feel a little out of place. Does that ever happen to you as a female artist?
Not usually. I've had certain circumstances where people will ask me and kind of be surprised that I've drawn it, and I've had some comments saying that I draw like a man, which I'm not really sure what that means. But for the most part, everyone's been really accepting, and the other artists that I know are really great. So
that's awesome. Do you have a favorite character to draw?
Favorite character to draw? Gosh, I draw a lot of different characters. Pretty much as long as I like drawing women, so I do that the most often. So I guess in general, as long as it's a female character, I like that.
And do you have a website or anything else you'd like to promote?
Yeah, it's emilyroseart.com.
Thank you so much for your time. So I really like talking to her. I think she has a really great perspective on what it's like to be a woman in the convention circuit, because for better or worse, comic book conventions, geek conventions, whatever have you, is still male dominated.
And the industry in general.
The industry in general, very male dominated.
The conventions are because the industry is.
Right.
Although it's weird, though, that the conventions, to me at least, I've seen that the conventions definitely have a bigger female presence. Not just the harlots dressed as sexy versions of various characters, not just cosplayers, but you do see more female fans, more female cosplayers, obviously, and more female booth, artists and things like that. You see them at the conventions where you don't see them in the industry,
right?
And it sucks for them.
I actually got to talk to another artist, a female artist. Her name's Rita Moore, and she is the lead artist for CCP Comics. Not just an artist, the lead artist.
That's good. Of course, that could mean only artist. I'm kidding. If Rita's watching this, I'm just joking. I make jokes. No, she's actually a very good artist. I don't know if you can see very well on screen. That's her business card for Robins. Amazing. Yeah, this is amazing artwork. You showed me this earlier, and I'm going to hold it a little closer. That's as good as I can get because I'm short. But that's fantabulous.
It is, and her other artwork was great. She had one series of prints I just loved. You would have loved it.
Oh, really?
I thought of you when I saw it. It's the Muppet characters as different lanterns. So
nice.
You have Miss Piggy as a Star Sapphire, Kermit as a Green Lantern, Gonzo as a Blue Lantern, which even she admitted was kind of a stretch, and he was only a blue because he was blue.
Okay, at least she admits that.
Because we talked about it, I'm like, these are good. Gonzo as blue is a bit of a stretch, so she is, yeah, I know, but he's blue. It's a great series.
Yeah.
So I love talking to her. She was so much fun to talk to. And I'll just let y'all see for yourself.
Ooh, roll more footage.
So here at Capital City Comic Con, I'm here with
Rita Moore.
She's got a table here and with her artwork on it. What sort of stuff are you displaying here today?
Well, I'm displaying some of my color work, specifically the watercolors that I do here at the show. Most of these pieces were completed at shows like this one. But mostly I'm here to support CCP Comics. I'm the lead artist with this independent publishing group right out of here in Austin. And I'm the lead artist. I do portfolio submissions and everything else like that. I review.
That's awesome. And so do you have any books that are out currently we could find in a comic store?
Oh, yes. Sorry about the announcer, but currently in scattered stores in Austin because we're not quite in Diamond Distributing yet. You can find our books, like at Austin Books. I do believe that we have some at Dragon's Lair. But you can find our books all online, comicsplus.com.
Okay. And have to ask, because I know I run into this as a female in this type of environment. Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel like people have initial opinions or judgmental because you're a female in a male-dominated industry?
Well, a lot of times when my husband is sitting with me, a fan will come up and talk to him and be like, I'm a fan of your work, I love it, and I love the watercolors. And he's like, that's hers. And they're like, oh, you're the artist? It's a common mistake, but even in CCP Comics, we have a few, female artists. We tend to treat everybody equally. There's no disparaging on, opportunities available or anything else like that. So we kind of work a little backwards from most of the industry.
And you travel to a lot of conventions?
Oh, yes. In a given year, we could go do anywhere between 12 to 17 conventions.
And what's your favorite part of the convention experience?
Honestly, I love cosplayers. That totally makes the entire convention worth it for me. I'm constantly amazed at people who could do stuff that I can't, and I can't sew for anything. So people that make these elaborate displays and elaborate costumes are just amazing.
Is there any current or upcoming projects you'd like to promote?
Yes. Current project that we have right now is CCP Comics bestseller Dead Robot. I did the color work for that one. It's one of the pieces that I'm particularly proud of. Upcoming is my personal book, Flip Relapse, which is about superheroes. If you enjoyed action comedies such as Young Justice, then you would definitely enjoy this kind of book since it was inspired by books like Young Justice.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So, talking to Rita was great. I love that she's working as the lead artist for a comic company. I love that it's a smaller comic company and that they're just starting to get out there. As she said, here in Austin, you can find some of their books locally. They're based out of Austin, as she mentioned. But you can go online and see their stuff, obviously.
Right.
And I think that it's great to see new comic companies that are up and coming, see what kind of work they can put out. I think it's even better to see one with a lead female artist.
Absolutely.
It just shows that the comic industry is changing.
Yeah.
And it may be male dominated, but we're definitely starting to see a shift of equality.
Right. And while the big boys at DC and Marvel may not want to appreciate the females that are out there in the industry, they are starting to get a bigger voice, and I think that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Both writer and artist.
Yes, definitely.
I think it's definitely a good thing.
And so I do want to take a moment and thank both Emily Rose and Rita for talking to me. It was amazing to meet them both. Both so nice. They were so sweet and just very friendly, very willing to answer my questions. I had a great time talking to both of them. And definitely, if I see them in San Antonio or at Austin Comic Con, the Wizard World one, here in a couple of months, definitely going to look at maybe getting some of their prints because both of them are tremendous artists.
Good.
So was very happy to have the chance to talk to them. So all in all, Capital City Comic Con wasn't a Wizard World convention, but it wasn't meant to be. I think it set out what it meant to do. It highlighted the artist, which was their whole purpose.
And let's face it, when comic book conventions first started, it was to really showcase the artwork, the writing, and give people who were not necessarily in the industry but were collectors a way to buy, sell, trade their collection. That's what it all started as. It's gotten so far away from the original intention that these little shows are kind of a nice change of pace, nice breath of fresh air, or stale air, depends on which convention center you're in.
Personally, I smelt a lot of hippies, but
yeah, well, what do you got?
But it's Austin, so
there are a lot of hippies in this town.
That's exactly what happened. I was standing in line behind a couple of hippies, waiting to get in because I got there before the doors opened. I'm texting Jill, going, "God, I smell hippies. My nose is itchy and twitchy." And she goes, "What's a hippie doing at a comic book convention?" I go, "It's Austin. They're everywhere."
Yeah. Hippies can be comic fans.
Exactly.
They just like their comics printed on hemp paper. That's all. Anyway. But great interviews. I again wish I could have made it. Couldn't do it. It was too last minute.
It did turn out to be a last minute thing, but Steve's appearance was a very last minute thing, which is why I went so last minute.
There you go.
But I got to meet Steve, which was great. A dream come true. Sweet guy. Oh my God. Such a friendly, sweet guy. Humble, down to earth, talkative with his fans, not stuck up in the slightest. Very sweet guy. Hope I get the chance to talk to him again.
So nothing like Austin St. John from what we've heard.
No comment, because I'm hoping to meet him as he's starting to do convention appearances. So no comment.
Throw a grenade on that.
So, but then I got to talk to these other artists, which was amazing. And CCP Comics did have a big presence there. Definitely going to look into some of what they have to offer because you hear me vent about DC all the time. Marvel is doing good now, but it's just these things go in waves.
See, that's why I
It's
stick
a matter
with
of time.
Zenescope.
But I'm definitely going to look at CCP Comics and see what they have to offer. They're an up-and-coming brand. They may have some good stuff that's just waiting to be found.
There you go.
So check out smaller publishers if you're just sick of what the two big ones are doing. There are other options out there.
Absolutely.
Something I didn't really think about until I talked to Rita. But there are other options.
Yep, absolutely. They're out there. You just got to go looking for them.
So
That is the exact reason that the comic book store needs to survive. Because it takes a comic book store to really get those independent publishers up and on their feet. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to find them online as much.
Right. So it was an educational experience, if nothing else. I'd consider going back to this convention next year if there was something that sparked my interest.
Yeah, time permitting, depending on what's going on. Yeah, absolutely.
I just hope that it's better organized next year. I'm hoping that they learned something from this one.
I'm sure they did.
So,
maybe
anyway.
they learned not to do conventions.
So that was my convention experience. So the next big one is in a couple of weeks. We'll be in San Antonio.
2 weeks away.
That's a big one. That's
I'm looking forward to that.
That's a Wizard World convention. Those are big.
So tired.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm going to have to do. I have to work till 10 o'clock the night before. Then I have to get up super early so that I can leave here and drive to San Antonio. Because we're in Austin, y'all. If y'all don't know where the difference between Austin and San Antonio, pull out a map. It's at least an hour and a half from here to where I'm going in great traffic. If there's any kind of slowdown, it could take 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I'm actually leaving Friday night.
Yeah, you're going to go down early.
After work.
And then I got to drive back that night. Because I got to be back up here Sunday morning. And I don't want to have to come back Sunday morning. So I might as well save the money on a hotel room.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going to be tired, but I'm going to be there and have fun.
And it is going to be fun. It's going to be great.
Might be a little wired.
Love the convention. I love the Wizard World conventions. The Wizard World people really have the convention down to an art.
Sure, absolutely.
The 2 Wizard World conventions that I've been to so far here in Austin have just been amazing. So I'm stoked to get to go to a Wizard World convention somewhere else.
Yeah, it's kind of neat seeing a different setup and all that. Mm-hmm. So join us if you're going to be in the San Antonio area August 2nd. Even if you're not going to be there the whole weekend, we're going to be there August 2nd, and that's all that really matters.
Right.
11:15 San Antonio Comic-Con.
Yes. For more information, keep an eye on jackalopsafari.com. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be on JoF TV, if you're going to be there, feel free to drop us a line. We'll catch up with you. And
yeah, we'll find you and film you.
Exactly. Show us your cosplay, artwork, whatever.
Tattoos.
It's going to be a good time.
Right on.
So that wraps up this episode of JoF TV. Thank you for watching, and as always, you can find all of our information on our website at jackalopsafari.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.